Hey guys, I'm here to talk about some really sad news I heard this week. There was a really horrible incident in Ontario, Canada. A family was just walking along the side of the road, taking their evening walk, and some guy in a pickup truck just ran them all over. Turns out they were a Muslim family, and this guy was motivated by some sort of hateful reasons. And so, four of the five family members passed away. The surviving members is a young boy. It's really horrible. But what it reminded me of is another incident that happened in New York a few years earlier, when a Muslim driver just went up on the bike trail and just ran over a bunch of bikers. And it also reminded me of something else that year in Charlottesville. There was a white supremacist who ran into a crowd of peaceful protesters that were supporting the Black Lives Matter movement and cause. So it just got me thinking, like, why do we do these things to each other? Like, what is going on? And, I just kind of like started looking at just my own biases and all of our biases that exist, right? And where they come from. And one thing I realized that we kind of don't talk about is this idea of, we talk about us versus them, but we all think that we are immune from that. And it's the other person who is full of hate. And anytime we have an incident like this, it just kind of confirms that, well, the people on the other side are filled with hate. But we're fine. And the truth is, we all have these biases. We all, have the potential to act out on these biases and really seriously harm others and really destroy relationships within the society as a whole. Just as an example, this family that got ran over, they're originally from Pakistan. And so the Pakistani prime minister actually made it a point to bring this up and condemn the attack and talk about how there's this, rise in Islamophobia in the West. And, I'm sure this creates a lot of resentment within the country. And, what kind of risk does that put the people in that country, the Westerners who are in that country? So I just want to talk about this idea that, we tend to see the best in us and the worst in them. And what I mean by that is, let's say, the Muslim community in general, they don't feel much threat from Muslim extremists. They may not like them, they may not sympathize with them, but at the same time, it's like, well, they're crazy people within our community. What can we do, right? And the same thing happens within kind of white American society. Like, yeah, there are these white extremists, but what can I do, right? And both sides dismiss the crazies on their own side, but then see the danger on the other side. It's like, oh man, these white extremists really need to be taken care of. They're a danger to society, and vice versa. When in fact, actually, both are very dangerous and, kind of promote this downward cycle of hate and animosity. And, there's nothing, any of us can do about it really. But all we can do is just kind of keep ourselves in check and have these conversations among our friends that, look, we might worry about the extremists on the other side, but they're extremists on, quote unquote, our side, right? I mean, I don't think any of us, identify with these. Many of us, most of us, don't identify with these extremists. But at the same time, we concentrating on the extremists that are not within our group is actually counterproductive. If anything, we have more influence in those like us. So, having Muslims concentrate on, kind of having these conversations within our own community about extremism. And then within white communities, having this conversation about extremism within our own communities. I think that's a much more productive conversation, because we can each have more influence within those who are like us, those who identify with us, than we can across these groups. And just wanted to throw that out there, just something to think about. I've seen it in my own life, how I did see kind of white extremism as more of a danger than kind of Islamic extremism, and biases within the Muslim community. And then I realized that, wow, the biases go both ways. And I think it's very counterproductive for me to concentrate on those I really don't have influence over. And I think, if we started thinking in those terms and started having really hard conversations with our own groups and concentrating on that, I think, we could end up in a much better place. My 2 cents. Let me know what you think. Thanks.